The time has come to farm Tibia. I mean, Shin. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We're going to talk about what to farm next. I do this every month, and there just keeps being so much new info. We've got to try to condense all of this into some usable information, and I suppose let's just jump right into it. So the goal is always, of course, to get as much stuff as possible, whether or not you're going to spend a lot of money on this game or not. It's nice to be a little bit efficient if we can, and you want to keep your stuff effective. People will go for efficient more than they should, I feel like, because it feels good to get a good deal, but usually once you're getting a good deal in this game, I mean, sometimes it is a good deal, so to speak, but like you start doing double farms and all that stuff, a lot of times the game has kind of passed those characters by, and so, this is why I say sometimes you have to just be inefficient, but you're being effective by farming the new awesome stuff the CG is kind of placed in front of us. And so just in terms of hierarchy and tiers of what's most important to farm, I would say probably current raid is one of the most important things right now, at least. Is really kind of your lifeblood in this game, and I mean, you can kind of have your guild carry you, or you can all just kind of underachieve a little bit, and that's fine, but one way or another, the current raid is going to give you the materials and supplies that you need to be able to work on your stuff, like that you need that current raid, and it can't be the last raid or whatever, because you're not getting the Mark III raid currency, which is really, really important. Of course, it's debatable whether that's more important or not than Fleet Arena. Fleet Arena being the thing that gives you a ton of very consistent crystals if you're working on, if you have the top level of Fleet and you're able to get through it. So, Fleet Arena, like we just said, we don't really, the Fleet meta has not shifted for a long time, and so there's the question mark of Luthen just came out. Will we get his ship? They haven't announced that yet. We'll have some kind of ship for Ahsoka's unlock. We don't know if that's like a new ship or if it's an older ship. We don't really know. The fleet meta does not look to be shifting at all. I mean, you never know. CG, you really, really could just announce a new fleet and they'll be like, hey, it's out in 2 weeks. That is very possible. Does it seem probable to me at this point this year? Not really. I mean, you just don't know. CG has done a really good job of totally obfuscating their intent, and even though they're trying to like, hey, look at us, we're being transparent, they're also not. They're hiding a lot, and that's fine. That's their prerogative, but we don't know, and it's very, you ask other people who are just as well informed as me, and they'd be like, yeah, we're getting a fleet this year for sure, and they wouldn't know for sure, but what we all just don't know is all I'm trying to say. The one thing we do know is we're getting the punishing one, which is interesting because its intent is to be part of the bounty hunter, the executor fleet. And if you have the executor fleet, you know that you can kill everything out there except for some versions of Leviathan. And so the punishing one, they did say that it's not going to help against Leviathan, but I guess let's just wait and see if that's actually what the truth is. Because they've said that stuff before, and we're like, oh yeah, okay, CG, thanks, we'll take it from here. So looks like it'll be cool. It'll probably bend the meta, and, it's entered in, the code for it is entered into the game, it looks like, as a potential galactic chase, which is where you spend a bunch of extra crystals on refreshes for whatever node, and, it's a regular energy, fleet energy, whatever, cantina, and eventually, like, you drop enough shards that you get that ship farmed over the course of, 5 days, 7 days, whatever. And on average, you're going to need about 6 6K crystals to be able to do that if you want to get it right away, which is something I tend to recommend even to free-to-play players, maybe even especially to free-to-play players, because then you don't have to farm it later. You just have it, and this is going to be a meta ship. I don't know how much it's going to bend things. It seems like, why release it if it's not going to bend things? Because right now, Executor kills everything except for a couple things on Leviathan. So go get the punishing one, folks. The current raid, everything keeps ticking back here, folks. We'll talk about this later, but I think that the next raid is probably going to be Peridia. And guys, it's about time to stop working on raid teams already. If you haven't gotten off your ass and helped your guild for this, like, maybe start considering it, or maybe start considering, look, I'm going to start working on the new characters, like the Peridia characters, the Ahsoka team, or the Balin Skull team, and those are going to be the way I help my guild in like half a year from now. It sounds really stupidly long term, and maybe it really is, and maybe the new raid isn't Peridia. They haven't announced it yet, but I don't really see how that's an option, frankly, folks. That we're gonna have this raid left for another 5 to 6 months. That puts us right over the hump into the new year, right when CG gets back from their extended Christmas break that they always take. That there's no information. We'll probably get some announcement, some hype thing like in early December before they all just disappear forever and don't say a single damn thing to us for like a month and a half or 2 months, and then they'll release it. They'll get back. There'll be a frenzy of release stuff. Look at this, all this cool information, and then we'll get the new raid. I don't see how they could choose a different group of characters to require for the new raid, other than the stuff that's Ahsoka, because Ahsoka, Galactic Legend Ahsoka, isn't coming out until, what, November something? Because they've already confirmed we're getting Ezra first, and he's a new Conquest character. We have 2 months until then. That'll be in November. Ahsoka's not coming out until after he's here. So, November, they can't release enough characters for a new raid. It has to be a Peridia raid, or at least a raid involving those characters. So, I think it has to be Peridia. And therefore, you can work on these characters with pretty certain, with a lot of certainty. The certainty is very pretty. I don't know, guys, but one way or another, you can be fairly confident that you can work on these characters and they will be relevant for the new raid. And working on the old raid, I don't know, guys. Something you can probably just push away. Now, this is a slide from last time. These are, in my opinion, if you want to run 5 teams, the best 5 teams. I think I'm gonna put out one more video saying like, hey, here's like the 4 teams you need. I can just do 4 teams at 2.7, get my 10 million, and call it good. I know that not everyone is at the point where you can put all Relic 8s on things, but we'll be able to get there eventually, folks, and I'll put out a slightly better guide here, hopefully soon. My other raid guides are good for the most part. I'm just saying, I think there might be some more efficiency we can squeak out. Now, again, so territory battles has kind of been left dormant for a little bit, right? Not many new developments. Now, I will say there are actually a couple new developments in terms of special missions. Special missions where you get all of the cool, Cairo 2 and Cairo 3, Cairo 2, dear Lord, GT1, GT2, that stuff. We'll be able to buy you Cairo tech, which is nice. That's really good. And you can get, so right now you can usually beat the Saw mission. You don't have to necessarily re-roll or whatever, re-mod, sorry. And you don't necessarily, you get about 50% chance to win the Night Sisters fight if you were to eventually invest in either getting Luthen up and running, which, I mean, that's fairly easy for the people who already have him unlocked, or once you get the Great Mothers, and I'm really interested to see the footage actually of people destroying that Night Sisters node with the Great Mothers and what's her name? The lady, the organ, that's right, the organ donor. So Luthen is great, working on the Night Sisters is great. That's gonna help your guild. then we can move on. This is probably the last time I show this slide on this video, guys. The new assault battle, it's not that new now. We've had it for, what, 2 or 3 times? Guys, this is something, I feel like assault battles should just be a priority for you. Because they are free and they're simmed. Guys, I don't know if you have the same values as me. I like playing this game, but it's a lot. We have a lot to do, and anything with a sim button is money in the bank for me. This is one of the very few pieces of new content that CG has actually released that has a sim button. Most of the stuff is like, hey, you actually have to play this. Like, we're going to take away auto, we're going to take away the sim button, and so getting him to Relic 7, getting him to Relic 9. This is a strong team. It's good for the new raid. Though I will say that the strength of this team is diminished once you... now that the Datacron stuff is gone. I mean, I guess a little predictable, but it's still a pretty good squad. It's going to be relevant for a while. And I think the biggest thing is, eventually, if you're going to play this game long term, this is going to pay for itself eventually, right? And it's nice to get some passive income and also just have a Relic 9 squad that comes in handy sometimes, folks. Now, which one to farm between Balin and Ahsoka? It's a tough thing to know. Now, like I said before, I'm pretty sure the new raid is I don't know how it couldn't be. I think they've kind of just said, look, we're doing this. Like, they haven't told us that's what we're doing, but it feels like it has to. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. I would love to know. Honestly, folks, to me it just makes too much sense, because they're still going to be releasing new characters that they haven't even announced yet. They have to release a couple new characters for Ahsoka herself and her team. It can't just be her and Ezra, and then like, what are we doing? Sabine seems like she has to have a character as well. Maybe we have Hu Yang. Who knows who's going to be on it? But it seems like we have to. I would be shocking if there weren't both very important teams that could max out the new raid. At least one of their, one set of attacks. So Galactic Legend Ahsoka, obviously the new Galactic Legend is going to be very strong. Like, that seems obvious too. Like, Leia was really strong, Jabba was really strong. As they released new characters, the new Galactic Legend, they have to give you incentive. And Ahsoka is going to require a lot of new characters. They have to incentivize it, so yes, she's going to be really strong. How much stronger than other Galactic Legends? I mean, that's a big question mark. I don't know. My guess is, like, Leia's not way stronger than all the GLs. Like, she does well against some, she does poorly against others. She's kind of well balanced in the greater scheme of things in Galactic Legends. My guess would be Ahsoka's going to be right along there with them, maybe a little bit stronger to give you a little more incentive, but overall, I would guess that she's going to be around the same strength. CG doesn't even know. I'm sure they're not done testing her yet. They've already kind of indicated that way, but one way or another, she's going to be good. There's no doubt in my mind she's going to be good. The thing is, Balin and company are also going to be really good. And, he's going to be an epic confrontation, so his power level is going to be a little lower, but he's going to be part of the Peridia raid. He's going to get you the new Night Sisters, because there's only 2 characters for the new Night Sisters team, and they're going to be, obviously they're gonna be really strong. They already are really strong. So you get those 2, and then the 3 other Night Sisters you can just buy a Lightspeed bundle for, or maybe you just farm them up the old-fashioned way, because they don't cost any extra Chirotech, because they're so old, they don't take Chirotech. So it's kind of a free team, and then you also get this new mechanic, the mercenary thing, and who knows how important that's going to be exactly. I would say, though, that this is the new hotness. This is the new thing that they're going to be releasing. Like, for a long time, they were releasing UFUs, right? The unaligned force users, and they'll probably continue to do that. However, my guess is that they also are going to be releasing a lot of new merc stuff to help flesh it out. They've kind of hinted at it a lot in the text that they were talking about the mercs, like, as we release more mercenaries, and that's cool. My guess is that we want mercenaries, though, and I would say, yes, Galactic Legend, you're going to have more overt power with Ahsoka. And I think that you're going to have more utility with Balin. That is what my guess is. You get the new Night Sisters, which are way better than the 3 Imperial Remnants so far. Who knows if we're getting more releases. That seems like they're going to get a boost once we get Galactic Legend Thrawn or whatever. But if I had to pick between the two, and I do have to form my alternate account, I think I'm going Balin first. Plus, we probably get him earlier, especially because the next release character is Shin. And then I think they announced that the next one after that is going to be Merrick, which is the last requirement, as far as we know, for Balin. So that's what I would guess. People are like, dude, lay out. I got a couple comments, actually, last video I was talking about this. They're like, dude, shut up. You're not going for Balin first. And no, it's true, though. Like, you can watch me, okay? You can watch me. Unless there's a substantial reason to shift from what knowledge we have currently, I'm going for Balin first on that account. All right. So, thanks for calling me out. It was ineffective, however. So, how to prioritize, guys. And this is probably the last time we show this slide, honestly. So, go get your assault battle characters done, guys. Go get them farmed. They're farmable. They're gearable. They're good for the raid. Like, there's no you should be working on that squad. It's wonderful. There's a lot of good reasons to work on it. Raid account, like, you should be finishing up your raid farm by now. Like, yeah, that needs to be done. Sure, it's kind of still relevant, but it's like on the edge of just like, why haven't you started yet? Why haven't you started your raid stuff? Like, start working on your next one, because the next raid stuff is also happens to be the new hotness that it's going to power the rest of your roster for a long time. So get some Relic 9 mats for Cat and Snips and potentially others. That's probably wise. And honestly, guys, right now, if you haven't worked on guns yet, I'm just gonna say I think there's still a strong squad. All right, like we're playing them in 3v3 right now, and they're very strong on offense, on defense. They still do okay. They're not transcendent the way they were when they had their stupid frog crons. I think you should skip guns. I think they're gonna end up being one of those squads where it's like, yeah, they're good. They are good. But like Tuskens are good, you know, like others, the Zori team is good. Like, you don't have to skip those. I'm not saying that you should just skip them per period, but if you have to skip something, because we can't farm everything. CG has ramped up their character release schedule like crazy. If you look at the chart, it really is. It's gone up the last couple quarters. And so, if I had to skip a farm and advise people to skip a farm, I'd say guns, because they cost as much as a Galactic Legend to gear and get everything ready for, and they're not going to have any relevance other than unlocking stupid Jar Jar, and then what? Like, once the raid is gone, what are you going to do with them, guys? Like, they're going to sit next to Tuskens in terms of usefulness, maybe just a little bit higher, but, I mean, we've already, like, Maul already just destroys them in 3v3 at least, so... Anyways, don't hate me, but I do think guns are probably the most skippable, like, current relevant farm right now. I don't know what to tell you guys. Other than, okay, you can check out the links to these other videos that I have as well. Other things involving farming, Omicrons, Galactic Legend farming order, off-meta stuff. I'm going to be working on a 3v3 off-meta report, because that's a little bit out of date at this point. It's almost been a full year. We have like 2 or 3 new off-meta teams to kill things with. Oh dear lord. How to beat bottlenecks. Lots of stuff here, guys, all found in the video description. Also, please, if you liked this, or even if you didn't and you just think I'm great, please, or if you're bored, or you want a one step closer to carpal tunnel, please hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you wouldn't mind, folks. It would really help boost the channel. I really appreciate it. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xerath prevails. And I hope you do too, folks. Take care.